Chapter 10. Choosing Birth. It isn't just the boundaries of battlefields that make an event like World War II have a global impact. Such a scourge affects us all because people truly are that connected. We are one, connected to one another through our soul cords, like the way I stayed connected to Irene just after I died. This connection continues between all people on earth. It is the fabric of human existence and is strengthened by our permanent union with God. Let me give you an example of what I mean. At the time Riva lay dying in the snow, I was only 3 years old and living in America. But her death almost killed me too, because some part of me knew that my soulmate was suffering unbearable agony. My mother reminded me of this when I arrived in heaven, how on the very day Riva died, I suffered a severe allergy attack. It came on during my nap and was so vicious I could barely breathe. My eyes swelled shut, and my swollen throat left me wheezing so hard my mother thought I was going to choke. As those were the days before antihistamines were commonly used, there really wasn't much Belle could do for me except pray. "Please, God," she said, "please help my son. Don't let him stop breathing. Whatever he needs to help him live through this, please help me to give it to him." What happened next is an exquisite example of the way heaven often answers prayers. Frequently it has to do with a greater picture that we in human form cannot even begin to comprehend. But believe me, it is help nonetheless. In this case, heaven answered Belle's prayers by helping Riva die and cross over in greater peace. Our angels knew that the agony of her death was causing my soul such distress, my immune system was being compromised. This is how deep my soulmate connection is to Irene. We are inextricably linked. Her agony as well as her joy are mine. Within half an hour of my mother's prayer, my body righted itself and I calmed down. Belle continued watching me carefully, but I never had as severe an attack again because Riva was safe in heaven, preparing to be born into a stable life in America. Safely back in heaven, Riva/Irene began to heal. Although I wasn't there to share in her process, she could feel the intense pull of our desire to be together. The strong, unstoppable nature of our love for one another enabled her to remember both her larger soul identity and all the plans we'd made for our next lifetime together. She wanted more than anything the chance to experience a lifetime in which we finally accomplished some manifest good. She needed a victory in a big way. All that coming and going, trying and failing, got pretty old after a while. Despite the pull to join me in yet another lifetime, Riva/Irene was furious about what had happened to her this last time around. Understand that from this heavenly place of knowing, Irene could see the way the horrors she had just lived through would continue reverberating in some way for generations to come on the planet. As much as she wanted to be with me again, she was not convinced that the kind of life she longed for would be possible in a world still reeling from this level of cruelty. The biggest glitch in Irene's efforts to get what she wanted was that our new lives were already in motion. If she wasn't able to heal enough to join me in America, I would have to live this lifetime without my partner and soulmate. Unwilling to leave me on earth alone, Irene agreed to be born again and follow our plan. In planning her life to come, she followed the path most souls take before they're born. Irene communed with her angels and the Creator. She became silent to the depth of her soul and pulsed in rhythm with our loving source. She quieted her ambition and enthusiasm and tried to allow the song of her soul to sing. She felt the joy and ecstasy of the song of life to her core. She aligned the pulse of her soul not only with the heart of our source, but also with the truth of her own being. It took all of Irene's self-love and compassion for her to choose a life that would be most in harmony with her soul purpose. As these choices became clear, Irene's entire being pulsed in the rhythm needed to draw herself the body, family, culture, and personal gifts through which she would manifest. She surrendered her whole soul to the heartbeat of life. A searing shaft of light imprinted her conscious being into the DNA and RNA of her future self waiting in her mother's womb. This melding of spirit and matter, this precious, utterly unique alchemy, was the beginning of my dear heart, Irene. Our joint soul purpose was to create financial and social security for ourselves while being loving to each other and our children. We encoded ourselves with the strength and compassion necessary to negotiate fairly even through the toughest issues that arise in families. We committed ourselves to loving our children with unending patience and caring. And we committed ourselves to living in cultural harmony with our neighbors and co-workers under even the most difficult situations involving money or property. We would meet and have a long, healthy marriage together. Irene and I fervently believed we could help other people by being a model of what it means to keep being kind to each other in a family, no matter what. Given our track record, we didn't know what our chances at success were, so we developed an emergency plan. This time we'd finally pull off our joint purpose, even if it meant working across the divide between heaven and earth. Choices like this are not so rare. Heaven often helps souls plan a tragedy to wake themselves up. So that's how I ended up dead in a ditch, leaving Irene to rely on her inner strength and knowing all by herself.